Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel or episode wherever you are listening to my lovely voice. If you notice something a little bit different, it is because I just got over a really bad respiratory flu or cold. It's not really COVID, it's just one of those nasty coughing ones that have been going around. And because my throat is already effed up from my neck fusions, it's taking a while for me to get it back to normal. So I'm gonna have this sexy raspy voice for you. I know, exciting. In this video, I'm gonna talk about the 3 reasons one could form dependency on Kratom tea. I'm gonna avoid using the A word. I really don't like that word. I think it has been villainized, and people that are addicted to things are looked down upon, which I think is incredibly unfair, because even though this person is addicted to heroin, he's no better than Sally over here that has to have 3 cups of coffee every morning. They're both addicted. It's just pick your vice, right? But when you think of addiction, you don't ever think about white sugar, energy drinks, coffee, caffeine, the need for caffeine, and there's really nothing wrong with those things in small amounts, but people tend to just latch onto things for a few reasons, which I'm going to talk about in this video. But strictly reasons that one might form a dependency on Kratom itself, because Kratom has hit the media running. Everybody's talking about it these days. Very few actually know truly what Kratom is. There's scientists and senators and doctors and men and women who believe fully in Kratom and support it. Dr. Ross is another one who wrote a book about her support of Kratom. I'm a huge fan. I always try to promote her in most of my videos because we need more people like that talking about Kratom. It's been villainized, and with every video I do that's about Kratom, I'm trying to break the stigma and the taboo lies as much as possible, because we need more people doing that. Even people from my demographics of life. You would not think I would be such a huge fan of Kratom, you know, growing up in the church, being the good girl, you know, a bachelor's degree, successful career, a girl in a freaking suit with heels at first thing in the morning. She has her cup of Kratom tea. That's just like, we need to visualize those moments more. And I will try to do my best as to normalize. Kratom, if you don't know, I'll do a quick summary. It's a tropical tree that is from in the Asia Pacific area, Thailand, Indonesia, those areas, the Polynesian areas. They have a history with using and utilizing Kratom tea for medicinal purposes, as do all the other countries I mentioned. Their history is very deep with this. They use it for helping with pain, helping mood. You know, they would give it to women who would be in labor to help them get through those. These are natural things that humans used, provided by God, Mother Nature, for things like this. Before advancement of medicine ever came around, there were things like Kratom. So Kratom serves a huge purpose for many people. Millions in the world have actually consumed it, and even more are learning to see it in the way that they should. And of course, the American Kratom Association and Kratom United are 2 nonprofits that are focused on supporting Kratom and getting it legal with reasonable regulations, because we want it to be easily accessible to people, because it can change lives, but it also could be a form of dependency. So 3 reasons a person might have when they form a dependency on Kratom. And the very first one is it helps with their chronic illness or illness of some sort, whether that be anxiety, depression, PTSD, or painful illness like fibromyalgia or neuropathy. So because Kratom helps with those things, a person might form a dependency on Kratom because it takes away their pain. It takes away a panic attack. This is one of the forms of dependencies where I am in full support of. Because if you're gonna have to take something for an illness, it might as well be a natural alternative. It's what I always say. I live with a couple diseases that really affect my day-to-day life. And if it wasn't Kratom, it would be Percocet, Cymbalta, Lyrica, all this shit that are horrible side effects. More deaths have happened from those things than Kratom itself. But that's what's supported. That's what's praised. And yes, they have a purpose. They serve a purpose. I've had to utilize one of those things at one time or another. But if I could choose a natural alternative, I will gladly choose that natural alternative. I will happily have a dependency on Kratom because it takes away my pain. It puts me in a better mood. Hell to the yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. Because we all have a vice, we all have a dependency on something in our lives. And for people that suffer with a chronic illness, they have to take it. They don't get the luxury of taking Kratom for recreational purposes. They don't get the luxury of taking a break for a week or a month and having some taper sesh because, you know, they want to avoid tolerance increase, or they know that they shouldn't form a dependency on it, so they're going to take a break. Good for you. I wish I could be that lucky, but there is something that I need in my life to help me with my pain instead of living in pain. And if it's going to be something, it's going to be Kratom. It's going to be a natural alternative. With an illness of various kinds, whether it be mental or physical, we're going to need something to help us. Doctors will give you something to help. It might as well be Kratom. You might as well form a dependency on that, because that is a great exceptional alternative than some of the others. Synthetically, chemically made, I'll own that dependency any day. The second type of dependency one might form by consuming Kratom is the reason that it makes you feel fucking amazing sometimes, depending on the batch, the dose, the vendor, factors of course, but it makes you feel awesome. It gives you that little perk, is what I call it. Not the H word, I ain't gonna say that. Because really, when I think of the H word, I think of marijuana, smoking a joint, and really like, yeah. Those are kind of the things I think about when I think of someone getting high, okay? I don't put Kratom in that category. Kratom makes you feel awesome, gives you a perkety perk, lightens your mood, it gives you a better outlook in life. So because it does all that, one might form a dependency on it because they want to feel good. And honestly, who wouldn't? Why is that frowned upon in today's society? Why is feeling good something that's frowned upon? You like to feel amazing and happy? Shame on you. Wow. How is that even right? But society has demonized these people that are seeking help for a rosier outlook in life. And they demonize them for that desire to feel good. Now, there are so many ways a person could feel good. And the reason why some are frowned upon is because they cause you to kind of want to chop someone's leg off or eat someone for breakfast or totally tweak and like lift up a car and throw it across the parking lot. So for those kind of reasons, I could see why some things would be frowned upon by pursuing those kind of substances for feeling good, for the desire to feel good. Yes, that's why it's become demonized, because usually people attribute it to those kind of things. Have you ever heard of the Prozac smile or the Prozac laugh or something along those lines? It's like a mocking term when you see someone, typically a woman, who's like super happy or like super positive and has that smile, constant smile. People mock in a sense and call it that Prozac smile because Prozac is making them feel happy. Even that is being demonized or frowned upon or mocked. It shouldn't be. So though that kind of dependency would be probably one of the top 2 reasons one might form a dependency on Kratom, who cares? They want to feel happy. Who doesn't? Just pick your vice. You're either on Prozac feeling happy, or you're drinking a glass of wine every night to feel happy, or you're drinking Kratom tea to feel happy. They're all in the same box to me. Another dependency that I fully back up, Now, there are lesser of evils, right? And kratom isn't even an evil. But if you're going to choose something, again, let it be a natural alternative. And the third and final reason one might form a dependency on kratom is to fill a void. Now, that is when you get down to an addictive personality. You've probably heard me say that in past videos. I do talk about that from time to time, especially when I talk about extracts and my encouragement of avoiding those things, because that is when you really form a dependency on kratom, and it could really be detrimental to your health and cause some of the side effects that you hear about all the time. It's usually from people who take extracts. But the mentality there is the need to fill a void. And that is an addictive personality. That's an addictive mindset, are those that have some void to fill. And that is for various reasons that typically stem from mental health, grieving, past trauma, those kind of things that they need to fix. And the way they choose to fix it is by taking something that fills that void. Kratom tends to be an option for many people that have that form of a desire to be dependent on something in order to get through the day. And that could be really detrimental, because what if you got, finished your kratom and you didn't make enough money one month and you don't have enough money to drop for some new batches? Or what if you're like that addicted person that tweaks if you don't have it, and you get irritable, you get angry, you lash out? What if you're a mom and that happens? It affects other people. It affects those around you. That's why when people talk about addictive addicts or addicts in general, they tend to treat other people bad when they're short on supply or when they seriously have formed an addiction to something. An addiction is someone trying to fill a void. And that is the third common reason someone might form a dependency on kratom. And it makes sense, but it's not the way to do it. And to avoid that, I always stress to avoid extracts. There's a time and a place. Bad pain days, bad mood days, sure. But in general, it's to be avoided. Now, the first two really don't seem that bad. Obviously, I give my full support to those kind of ones, for those two. And if that's what I fall under as of being a dependent on kratom, then I'll own it. Guilty. But the one thing I do want to avoid as much as possible is the third possibility. I have methods on avoiding that and some solutions if you fall under that third category. And of course, the first thing would be to avoid extracts, to have other options instead of just kratom. If you tend to latch on to things and get addicted to things in general, and that's your personality, I would form options and be surrounded by other alternative medicine. And there are plenty. There's blue lotus, there's ashwagandha, there's kava. There's so many different natural alternatives to have in your back pocket. So you're not just strictly taking kratom, especially if you don't really need it for medicinal purposes. You can definitely have an apothecary of options to go to utilize to help you avoid getting to that part where you're trying to fill a void and trying to cover up some pain. My second advice would be seek mental health, seek therapy. I always avoided therapy since I was a young kid, because I'm the type of person that I like have an inner counselor in my head. So I've never really felt drawn to therapists because I feel like I know the answer to give them. Have you ever thought about that? Maybe it's just me, but I feel like I know what the therapist wants me to say, so I'll say it. Not what I truly need to figure out what the true answer is, but because I know that's what they're looking for. This doesn't serve me if that's the kind of way I think. So I had to really mature. I had to really go inward and do some shadow work in order to get to a point where a therapist would benefit me. And I couldn't recommend it more, especially to people that are trying to fill a void. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please take a look at my other ones. I talk about all different types of alternative topics. I'm a mystic, a Christian mystic, so I talk a little bit about spirituality that I believe in. I'm a mom, I'm a business owner, I talk about life and relationships and motherhood, all while utilizing some amazing natural alternatives that one would never suspect that I enjoy and partake in. This is me, this is my channel. I hope you subscribe, stick around, share, like, check out some other videos, and I'll see you in my next one.